Hello, welcome to episode 55 of the Cherry Heart podcast. I'm Sandra and this is a crochet and knitting podcast with some other yarny bits and bobs thrown in. Thank you for popping along to check me out if you are new. I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much for rejoining me again if you are a returning viewer. It's so appreciated to have you back. I'm coming to you from the UK, from Bedfordshire, on a lovely autumnal day. It's kind of overcast but still quite bright, so it's quite nice. It's dry, not too cold. I've got my little heater on to keep me nice and cosy in here, so it's all rather pleasant. What else do I need to say? Oh yes, the show notes for this podcast will be on my blog, on my website, so that's cherryheart.co.uk. If you just click the podcast tab, you can select show notes, or you can go and use the link, which will be just down here if you're on YouTube. There is a Ravelry group for this podcast as well. It's called Cherry Heart's Cozy Corner, so you can just search for that on the groups tab. So if you'd like to join there or subscribe here on YouTube or even to the blog, all of those things would be fabulous. We've just had half term here, so this is, well, I would say this would be the first day back. This is supposed to be the first day back, but I've got a house full of sickos, and so they're all slobbering around the house, cluttering up the place and being untidy, and meaning that I can't really get on with things. Very inconsiderate. Yeah, they've kind of been suffering for a while, the poor things. It's just a cold that they've got, but it's a bit of a stinker and it's been hanging around for a while. And I think I'm coming down with it. I think I've finally succumbed to it as well. So I thought I'd quickly get this podcast recorded before I go too downhill and I become too sniffy and coughy and just horrible, basically. So yeah, I've snuck out for a bit. And I thought I'd just quickly record this. So it might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but it might not, because I've got a little bit of pre-recorded stuff I need to put in, which I'll come to in a second. But also I've got a few vloggy bits that I recorded sort of over half term, so that might pad it out a bit. I'll shove that at the end, so if you're interested, stick around to the end and you can watch that. And then I've got my usual, you know, show you what I've been up to type things. Yeah, so the bit of video I'm going to insert is about a pattern that I've got coming out. It's a collaboration I'm doing with Hillview Farms, so that's rather exciting. So I shall go to Past Me, who is going to tell you all about that now. Hi, I wanted to just record a little extra bit for you to tell you about a lovely new design that I've created, and it's a collaboration with Natasha from Hillview Farms. She's got the Hillview Farm website and she does beautiful Hillview Farm yarn. This is one of her ones here. Her beautiful labels on. And she also does the Creativity Festival, so she does sort of workshops and retreats, and she's also got the Bower. I don't know if they sell food there or you can just go and get food there, sort of eat there. Anyway, she's got an awful lot going on. She's a very clever and talented woman. She's got a beautiful eye. Her styling on her website is beautiful. Her colours of her yarn are beautiful. She exhibits at Ravelry. No, that's not a thing. She exhibits at Unravel, sorry, and her stand always looks just absolutely beautiful. She puts so much thought into sort of what she does and how it sort of looks and whether it sort of fits in with her sort of style, I suppose. You know, the sort of, I don't know, she's just very good at portraying a sort of a really good looking, tempting, yummy product like this. So anyway, so she asked about collaborating with me, and of course, yeah, I was very excited to do that. So I've come up with a new design, which I shall show you here, which is this one. Let's try and hold it back a bit so you can fit it in. So I've called it my Frosted Sugar Plum Shawl. So let's get in close and show you some of that lovely texture. Oh, it's making the colour, the pink go a little funny. This is, oh that's better. This is Natasha's DK weight yarn. It's, let me just, yeah, it's Blueface Leicester. Just wanted to check before I said that. Yeah, it's 100% Blueface Leicester, and this is the Candy Floss colourway, and as you can see it's absolutely gorgeous, sort of subtle, yummy, tempting, delicious pink colour. Yeah, it was a joy to work with. And she'll be taking this design, she wanted to be able to take the design, make it up as a kit to go to the Country Living Festival. No, the Country Living Fair it is. It's a Christmas fair actually. It's on in London, so it sounds really quite good actually. It's in November, from the 7th to the 11th of November in London, and it was the Business Design Centre, I believe. Let me just check on that for you. Yeah, Business Design Centre, which is in Islington in London. So that's where the exhibition is going on. Near Loop as well, Islington. Loop's in Islington, isn't it? That could be quite a nice day out, couldn't it? Yeah, so she'll be selling kits for this there. So this takes 200-gram hanks of her gorgeous DK yarn to make this. And you'll be able to get that as a kit and be able to get the pattern from her. It will be a no, I think she is doing printouts of the pattern, but you'll also get a code so you can download the digital version so you can have it in your Ravelry library or to use again. So I've gone for lovely tassels, my current obsession, and because it was a wintry shawl I wanted to make it really nice and warm and scrumptious, so I've gone for this lots of lovely texture. And I've also gone for quite an interesting shape, I think. So it is a triangle shape, but instead of being just a right angle, sort of equilateral, is that the right word? You know, a triangle that's equal. No, it's just a right angle triangle, isn't it? Because the point is the right angle, but the other side is longer. Anyway, it's not one of those, so let's not dwell on that. But it's actually a V shape, so if I hold it up like this, you can see it actually makes this rather lovely V. So again, I've probably mentioned this before with other patterns, but with that sort of standard triangular shape, you do get quite a lot of, from the point to the top, you do get quite a lot of volume, which can be really nice for keeping you warm. But I prefer to have something that's more sort of will scrunch up around my neck and not sort of necessarily hang sort of all the way down my front. So I quite like to have this shorter style, so I've taken some of that sort of depth out there so that the whole thing will sit higher up around the neck, but I've still kept lots of lovely length for wrapping it round. I'll put it on and hopefully you will see what I mean. So you could obviously wear it other ways, I'm sure, but I generally tend to wear mine like this. So this is quite loose. Really, I could scrunch it up more. But if I just go back and show you, see, I've got these lovely little dangles hanging down, but it's not sort of coming down, you know, like all the way over like this sort of big thing, which is nice also, but it's just not what I'm into at this moment. So there we go. Try and show it off for you. God, I love the dangles. And the tassel sort of keeps that point nicely down. I'll have to come in quietly now without making the chair make too much noise. Yeah, so I'm really happy with that. It was really lovely to do it. Actually, because it's double knit as well, it came together quite quickly. So yeah, it was a very fun make. So I'm trying, I don't wear it for too long because I'm going to send it to Natasha. So she's got a sample to show at the fair. So I want to keep it all sort of nice and pristine for her. But that's why I wanted to pop in and record this bit, because it needs to go sending off on its merry way, so it's with her and all ready to go. And so I wanted to show you before it went. But yeah, oh, I really love this one. I just love the squishy yumminess of it. The sort of fluffy poofiness and all this texture which keeps you so snugly and warm. So when you've got your winter coat on, you can have it all wrapped around. Oh, it's going to be great. So that one, and then I also designed recently, which I have talked about before, is my Linden Bee shawl. Let me just pop and get that quick. So here it is. I won't talk too much about this because I've spoken about it on a previous podcast when I released it. I originally did a lighter version in a sort of cream yarn with some a gradient yarn for the stripes. This one I've done in one of Natasha's new yarns. She's sent me a few different things when I was sampling for the first shawl, and she sent me this gorgeous yarn, which, look at the lovely speckles on it. And I don't know if you'll see the shimmery sparkles. It's so lovely. So I just had to try one of my Linden Bees in that. So it's her twinkle base. This was the other colour I used. This was the ruby colour. You can see the twinkles going there. So this is a single ply merino yarn, and she will also have that with her. So yeah, so I made this up because I just couldn't resist, because that yarn is just so gorgeous. So she said, oh, do you mind if I took that one and did kits for that as well? So this one will also be there, so you'll be able to get kits for this. So again, this is 2 hanks, 100 gram. This is 4 ply though, and then you can stripe the 2 colours and get this effect. So yeah, she'll have both of those there. So the Linden Bee shawl, which is this one, is actually already out to buy digitally, so you can get that online at the moment, as well as at that show. And this one I will be releasing in time for the show, so it'll probably be, I'm not quite sure. I'll get Future Me to tell you the dates of when I'm going to release that, so I know where I am. But obviously it'll be in time for the show, so by the 7th of November, if not before. But yeah, I hope you like those, and if you do get a chance to visit Natasha at the Country Living Fair, that would be fabulous. And yeah, I hope you enjoy yourselves if you do. Bye for now. Yeah, so what do you think? Do you like it? I hope you like it. I hope I mentioned everything. I can't remember what I said in any of that now. So until I watch it through and I'm editing this, I won't know if I've mentioned everything. I think I did. I hope I did. I think the only thing I didn't tell you at the time was when the pattern is coming out, because I wasn't quite sure. But I think what I'll do is everything's ready to go now, so I will get that out this week. Probably on Thursday, maybe on Friday. So keep an eye on the blog, because I'll announce it on there. And then it'll be available on Ravelry and obviously at the fair with Natasha, which is quite exciting. Yeah, but if you don't want to miss that, just some people ask me sometimes about how they can find out about these things, but I always put it on the blog. So the best thing to do is if you go along to my site, cherryheart.co.uk, and then you click on the blog, there's a little subscribe thing up in the corner, or maybe this way, because this will turn around, won't it? But whichever corner it's in, if you just pop like your email address in there, and then it will send you an email which you have to then activate. And once you've activated the subscription, you get the blog post to your inbox. So if that's something that's of interest, I just thought I'd mention that. Yes, so that's all been sent off. So I haven't got it to show you now, which is why I had to record before. Yeah, so it's safely with Natasha now, and hopefully it will do quite nicely at the fair. Good, exciting. I like doing these collaborations, it's really good fun. Anyway, moving on, let me show you. I'm looking around to sort of see what I've got to show you. Where to begin? We'll start with the crochet thing, I think, because it's supposed to be a crochet podcast, and I invariably always start with knitting because it's normally socks I start with. So let's buck that trend. So this is in my Awesome Granny Halloween bag, which I got in summer actually, but I was saving it up. I just really like the Halloween one, and now I'm getting to use it, so that's quite fun. And I've got a project in here. I think I talked about this last time. I think I'd only just started it last time really, and it's basically just a scarf, and it's based on my Getting Ziggy pattern, which you may or may not know, but you know, zigzags. It was a shawl originally, a kind of sideways shawl. So I just wanted to do a straight scarf. So this is what I have so far. Let's put this in front of that. As you can see, it's not just the zigzags anymore. Yes, how did I... I don't know, you just have one little week off, don't you? And it all goes to pot. Yeah, so here it is. So it was basically just going to be these stripes. That was the original idea. I've got these 5 colours and it was just going to be stripes of zigzag, which I really love. But then I realised, well, I'd realised before, but when I came to do it, I realised it really was going to bother me, is that at either end, you're either going to end with, so at the top of the zigzags, you have a down and then an up. So you'd have points, and I'm going to put sort of maybe pom-poms, but probably tassels on these little points to finish off at either end of the scarf. So that would be one end, but at the other end, the point is at this edge, and you sort of get, instead of having a whole point like that, the whole V, you only get kind of half of it. And I just don't like having that at the end. I don't want that to be at the ends, and I don't want them not to match. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, and yet to me it does matter. So what I thought was, oh, I'll put some of these little square details on the end. I don't know where this idea came from. I don't know why I took it into my head to do this, but I did. And I thought, oh, that will sort of cover up, see how it's ending on the half point there, but I put the square in, and so then it sort of ends on, now it's going to end with these nice whole points instead of a point at the edge. So I've done that. But then of course if I do that at the other end, the other, this end it will be, I've still got the problem of not ending, I've either on a half square, or I've got to have a different number of squares. Like if I put another row, so I've got 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 rows of squares at the moment. If I had a 4th row, it would end in the right place, as I have decided it is going to be. Whereas on this side, I'm going to have 3 rows, and it ends in the right place. So even that would be uneven. And again, it shouldn't matter. I don't know why it does matter, but it does. And also, once I started adding these little squares, I sort of made a few just to sort of see how it would look, and sort of sat it next to it. I really loved how it looked, and all of a sudden I wanted to sort of incorporate them more in the design. So what I'm going to do, which is a lot of waffle to say what I'm going to do, but what I'm going to do is, this will be one end. So I'm ending with my sort of points not at the edge. Very happy about that. So that'll be one end, and then I'm doing some zigzags, and then I do some more squares. So every time I do a row of 3 squares, it has to be an odd number. It changes the point of the zigzag round. So there, that one's pointing up here, and this one it's pointing down. So if I keep putting these in, I can make sure I end the other end of my scarf with the points in the same direction, and then I can make it all match, and then I'll be happy. I know. Why do I let these things bother me? I really can't quite get my head around it. But at the same time, I'm sort of really pleased, because I really love how these little squares are looking. I like how they are sort of, you know, in between the other sort of stripes. It's like a sort of a different stripe, a different feature to the stripe, and I really like how they look. Really like how it's coming in these colours. So yeah, so there's probably going to be 5 of these little squarey sections and then sort of 4 of these middly stripy sections. So I've done quite a bit of undoing for this. So I did a bit where I tried putting the squares on, and for some reason I wasn't quite happy with that. I don't know quite why. Something about the way I attached the squares I didn't like. So I had to unravel that and do it again, but that was fine. I didn't mind too much because it was just kind of working out. I did a few sampley bits, and once I worked out how to do it in a way I was happy, I thought that's fine, I'll just unravel that and do that again. And then I made this bit, and I worked about 5 stripes off of this, and realised I joined it upside down. So I'd carefully planned this out so that this was going to be, this edge was going to have this yarn against it. So I didn't want any of the outside of the squares to be in the same colour of this. So I didn't include that. But then when I actually went to join it on and work into it and work all the stripes, I joined it in the wrong way up, and then it's got one of those squares that matches. And again, it probably doesn't really matter, but it just looked a little bit strange to me. I preferred having the contrast. Yeah, so I've gone and undone all of those stripes as well. So I've got some little balls of all the unwound stripes, but I hadn't put all the ends in or anything, so it was fine. So yeah, so I've unwound them all, and then each time I get to that particular colour I just use the small ball first. But you know what, actually it hasn't really bothered me. I've probably sort of made this amount twice now, but for some reason that hasn't particularly bothered me, so it's all good. But yes, now I've got something I'm happy with. I've got my first set of squares, and then my stripes, and my second set of squares, and then I've got another set of squares ready to go. These, it does take a little while to make these up, you see, making the little squares and putting them all together. Yeah, that takes quite a while, whereas the stripes don't really take too long. That's alright, it's toodling along. I've got a few things at the moment. It's most unlike me. Mostly I only have maybe 2 or 3 things at a push, because I like to see progress on them, and if I have too many I get a bit, it stresses me out really, because I just don't see enough progress on them and I feel like they're never going to be done. But at the minute I've got quite a few things on the go. How many have I brought up? 1, 2, I've got 3 up here, and I've got another couple of bits on the go back down there, and actually I'm kind of, no, 4 I've got up here, and a couple, that's 6 things, and 1 thing I've just finished. I'm babbling, I shall shut up. Basically at the moment, for whatever reason, I'm okay with having quite a few things hanging about, and I'm all right just doing a bit on each one, and I'm really enjoying everything I'm making at the moment. Which sounds like a bit of a daft thing to say, because why would you make it if you weren't enjoying it? But just everything, I'm just extra pleased with everything I'm making at the minute. You know, it's not like I haven't lost my Crojo. I haven't sort of really been not wanting to make, and now I do, so it's not quite that, but at the same time, I don't know. I was kind of quite enjoying everything I was making. Now I'm really enjoying everything I'm making. Right, yarns. Let's show you something practical and stop waffling. This is supposed to be a shorter episode. So this one is Eden Cottage yarns. The colourway is called Sparrow, and I love and adore it so much I almost didn't want to use it. But I love all of these colours in this. I ummed and ahed for ages about the exact selection, but I'm so happy with this selection now. I've finalised it. So that's that one. This one is Hedgerow Yarns by Lovely Jane, and I think I might have to refer you to my Ravelry page for the exact colour names, because I can't remember all. I think this is Perfectly Peach, but you know, buyer beware, make your own inquiries, that's what I'm saying. But everything is listed on my Ravelry project page, so if there's one you see and you really do want to know, just have a quick check. It's linked in my show notes, the Ravelry page, by the way. This one, the lovely variegated one, this was kind of the basis for the colourway. This is a Cozy Posy one, and this was a lovely gift from my friend Amelia. And this one is called Sweater Weather, I believe. This is a Wool and Vine one that I've had for quite a while. I know... No, I don't know the colourway of this one. I can't remember. I have a neighbour being noisy. I hope you can't hear that. I think it's finished. It's on her gold stellina blaze though, but yeah, I can't remember the colourway of that one. And then I've got this one, which is a Malabrigo. I always stumble over that word for some reason. A Malabrigo yarn, I think it was Frank Ochre, but that is just gorgeous. It's making it look a little colder on the screen at the minute. It's nice and rich and warm. Sort of more, even more mustardy than it looks there, I guess. But yeah, so they're all completely different yarns. They're all just pulled from stash. But yes, they're making me very, very happy. So I've been working on that mostly over half term, I think. Yeah. Now let's do some knitting. These are all works in progress. I don't think I've got any finished items to share at the moment. I have got one, but I left it down the house and it's only a small thing. I'll show you next time. So this I wanted to quickly cast on in while it was still October. So this is my Pumpkin Party Socks, which is yarn by Alison of Biff Sugar Yarns. And it was a sock set, so there's this one, which is gorgeous. And it came with a nice purple mini for heels and toes, which is what I shall be doing. Yeah. So I just went for just something simple, just a little basic rib pattern in there. Oh, I love the feel of Alison's yarn. So squishy and lovely. Yeah, so these are kind of just a little slow background, just knit a few rows every now and then when I fancy it type project. But yeah, they're such a October-y sock, it seems to me, that I just wanted to get those started while it was still October. And then these might take over because I've got my Strictly socks. So for the Strictly sock along by Alison from Little Drops of Wonderful, I'm making some stripy socks for that, and I'm kind of getting through them. I'm on the second sock and I'm at the heel turn at the moment, so I'm hoping I might be able to get them done for Blackpool. So if I do, this might become my sort of takeover, you know, to knit while I watch Strictly sock, because it's quite nice and simple. So yeah, that might fit in that slot and just get done then. So yeah, 2 pairs of socks on the go at the moment, and then a crochet project which is in my basket that I got at Unravel actually. So the crochet jumper. So I spoke about this one before as well last week, so you might recognise this. Not last week, was it? It wasn't even the week before. Normally it'd be the week before, wouldn't it? But I've missed a week, so the last podcast, I should say, the last episode. So on the last episode I had sort of this bit and I had a bit of this colour done, and they were separate because I'd started here and then realised that this sort of lovely colour would look glorious on the bottom. So I was debating whether to sort of attach it, sort of leave this bit intact and just try and attach this bit, and then while I was chatting in the podcast I was saying actually I could just unravel it and just add it on, and that would be probably save me an awful lot of stress and bother. So yes, that is exactly what I did. I just had this bit beside me and I just crocheted onto here, unravelling this bit as I went until it was all on. Much easier, and it didn't take long, so it really wasn't a problem. Yeah, so that's that colourway. And then I've added the next one. So this one, I really like how this blend, I quite liked that there was a bit of contrast, I really like that. But then as I've added my other colours, they've actually blended in so seamlessly. It makes this one stand out a little bit, which I'm quite surprised at. I didn't realise the colours sort of matched so well. But this one you can see a little bit more clearly. These ones merge, you can barely tell them apart really. You can see there is slight difference, but it is. Yeah, never realised. They didn't look so close together on the skein, is what I'm trying to say, but when they're crocheted up it actually looks remarkably similar. Yeah, so I'm on to my fourth colour now, and I've split for the sleeves. So I'm just sort of working up. What I've done, I'm working from the outside and then I've started from the inside, because I don't know how long this one will last, so I thought I'll do it sort of, I did this far at the back and then thought actually I'll catch the front up a bit and sort of to make sure I'm using them evenly, because then I can just keep going, can't I? So I need to catch this front bit up, and then I need to think about sort of necks and whether I'm going to put a little bit of shoulder shaping in, which I might do. My original idea was, oh, I'm going to keep it super simple. It's just going to be a square. I'm not sure I can resist putting a little bit of shoulder shaping in, because I've got quite rounded shoulders as well, so it might sit better on me if I just put a little tiny bit in. Yeah, but it's coming on again, just really enjoying it. It's lots of lovely mindless granny at the minute, so for most of it up to here there's been absolutely nothing to think about. And then obviously I've split. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. And then now I'm getting to the bit where I will have to think a little bit more, but that's okay, it's coming on nicely. I've still got another whole colour to go, so I think I'm going to be okay for yardage. Now I've added this lovely colour on the bottom, so that would be 5, and then if I need to, I've just got my plain to finish off the sleeves if I need to, but I might not even need to, which might be quite good, but we shall see. So yarns, let me tell you yarns. So this one here is a gorgeous one from Betsy Makes. It's her GNC colourway, and yeah, it's another one I didn't really want to use, but the colour matched in so well, it suited these others so nicely that I kind of couldn't not use it, if that's English. Yeah, so I was kind of, oh, I don't know. And then as I was crocheting with it, I was like, oh, this is so nice. This is so nice. I need another one of these. I want some for socks as well. Yeah. Anyway, so that's Betsy Makes a GNC. This one was Hedgehog Fibres, and I think it was called Pistachio. And this one that's very similar, but actually isn't the same at all, is by Wool and Boone, and I can't remember the colourway name, but it'll be on my Ravelry page if you absolutely want to know, and that will be linked to my show notes. This one is Fine Fish Yarns, and it was, it's either 24-hour Party People or E numbers. I think it's 24-hour Party People, but again, if you absolutely want to know, and you might do because it's gorgeous, it will be on my Ravelry page. And then I'll be moving on to this one, which is a Madeline Tosh one, and that's Holy Festival. And the plain one is Rose's Moments. I think it's just sold as a undyed, natural, but it's got a bit of sparkle in it. Yeah, so that's coming along quite nicely as well. So again, yeah, I suppose I've done quite a bit on that, haven't I? I've whizzed it, done all of this up here. But yeah, very enjoyable make, and it makes me want to, I've got some other yarns out. I pulled out my Debbie Bliss basket the other day, just looking for some bits for samples, I think. And I just pulled it out and saw the colours, and I thought, that would make a really nice granny blanket, you know. So that might have to be another project Another project on the list. And then the last thing I have to show you, again, that I talked about last time, is my weaving project, which is now off the loom. Whee! Here it is in all of its glory and non-glory. So I used, oh, I didn't bring up the yarns to show you. I did speak about it last time, and again, Ravelry project page and everything. But I did talk about it on the last episode. So yeah, so I used 4 different yarns for this, which was probably a bit ambitious because I haven't done any weaving in the longest time. And I think it does sort of show, and also sort of some of them weren't the most appropriate to use for the warp threads. I was saying this all last time, so I won't repeat again. But anyway, there are a few sort of little errors and things in it. Some of the ends are a bit tatty. For some reason I thought, oh yeah, I'll just carry all the yarns up the side, even this really thick one. Which obviously doesn't work. I did stop doing that later because it just doesn't work. But yeah, I'm not sure how many colours you can really take up the side. I think it's okay if you're sort of alternating 2 colours. That's not too bad. I'm not sure it's wise to do it if you've got 3. Or maybe I just wasn't using the right technique to do it. I don't know. To be honest, it really just doesn't bother me. And there are a few other mistakes. I've got a few other floats. I've got a really bad one. This does annoy me. This was underneath. I couldn't see it. I didn't realise I'd missed. Because like I said, it's because my choices of warp yarn weren't really the best, and I didn't tension when I was setting up my warp on the loom. The first sort of stage, I didn't tension it brilliantly, to be honest. I was kind of just, I'd mostly forgotten how to do it, and I was sort of watching the videos, reminding myself, and I kind of made a few mistakes. Anyway, that's just the one that bothers me most because that's quite a long one. I might even snip that and weave it in. Maybe. Or I'll just tuck it all to the inside. So you can't see it that side. Nothing there that side. It's fine. So that's a bit annoying. And there are a few others, but most of the others are quite small and you can't really notice them. And it, you know, like I say, yeah, it's not perfect, but it really doesn't bother me because it was just quite enjoyable to do. And it is the first time I've woven for ages. So, you know, whatever. It does kind of make me, this is probably the worst thing I've ever woven in a way, because even when I did my first piece on it, I probably just did something quite basic, so it probably came out, and I was sort of paying more attention, if you like. This time I was sort of, you know, because I was new, I was deliberately following each step, and this time I kind of half remembered and half had forgotten, and I was kind of, yeah, I know what I'm doing. Oops, no, maybe I don't. So I was a bit more, I wasn't paying enough attention this time, so probably this isn't the best result. But like I say, who cares? So what I'm going to do with this is sew the ends together, and it's going to be a cowl. I've got one, a woven cowl that I got from Fat Face last year, and I wear it all the time, and I just thought it'd be a rather fun way to do a little weave and use some of these yarns. So last time I was wondering about how on earth I'm going to do that, but I have since received some good advice. So who was it? Let me just check I'm getting the names right. So someone recommended to me a podcast from someone that weaves. What's the podcast? Babel's Travelling Yarn podcast. That was Tunisian Crochet World. Left a comment. I don't know your name, I'm sorry, but that's what your profile thing is. So I went over and checked her out. So yes, that was quite useful. She's sort of just taken a big bit of weave off of her loom that she's going to cut and make into sort of possibly a dress, I think she was saying, or a sort of cardigan-y thing. So yeah, so that was quite interesting to see her talk about that, but she didn't explicitly say how she was going to do it, and maybe she will in another podcast, but she did say that she'd cut and sewn before and it'd been fine. And then I was also chatting to someone else who commented, and this was Kirsty, who was telling me how she did it. And basically you kind of sew a zigzag line, and then I can sew them together and then hem them so that my cut edge is sort of all tucked inside. And she said that's okay to do. So I'm feeling much more reassured now. And I was looking on the internet in between and sort of trying to find out. There's lots of information that you say of finishing your weave, but all they tell you is how to do this sort of the last, like when you've woven it all and you're at the end, they tell you how to do the hem stitch. You'll find a billion tutorials on how to do the hem stitch. And they'll tell you to take it off and to block it, you know, to sort of soak it, to get it to all the holes to fill out. But they don't tell you what to do with the beginning end particularly, and they don't tell you, you know, they'll tell you how to leave a fringe, but there's not much on any other sort of finish to it. I did eventually track something down. I'll pop the link in show notes in case anyone's interested. But basically she'd sewed it as well, so I thought, this is obviously what people do. Oh, and I found another thing where it said, it might be hand woven fabric, but it is just fabric at the end of the day. You can just cut and sew it. So I was like, okay, I guess. But yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'm sure it will be fine. And if I've got a couple of sewn lines, it'll be fine. So yeah, so I've got, this was my finishing end, if you like. So I've got my little hem stitch on there, and I've left my strings on to keep everything together until I'm ready to sew. And then this is the beginning end. So this is my waste yarn that I put on at the start. So I've left that in just to keep the actual woven bit, which starts there with that blue line, just to keep that all nice until I can sew it. So yeah, so I've got it off and I've blocked it, and I kind of quite like it. Now I've just got to do the sewing bit, and then it will be in a big loop like this, and it can go round, and it should go round twice and be nice and snug. It feels really soft, and the drape's amazing. I kind of want to weave something else now. Kind of wish I had somewhere to keep my loom out, because it's a pain though. Yeah, so I think that's all I've got to show you. I'm not going to talk about any more patterns in progress. I had the bit at the beginning about that one. And I've got one more pattern to bring out this year, which is my pick and mix socks, but we'll talk about that later. So it's just incoming goodies to finish. And I've only got one to show you. I think I've got another, but I think I left it down at the house. So again, I'll show you that next time too. But yes, when I was saying about my crochet jumper, I was saying about the Betsy Makes, the G&C, and how much I liked it. And each time I sort of crocheted up another little stitch, I was like, oh, I want to use this again. So I popped onto her shop just to have a little look. And she had some in there. And what's even better is this one is a sock yarn. So the one I've got there is merino with, I think, silk. So very nice and drapey for my jumper. And this one is merino and nylon. And I was thinking I want socks. I've crocheted it, and I'd quite like to knit it as well. Yeah, isn't that just so beautiful? It's so pretty. I just love these sort of greeny bits sort of popping out, and just the blues. So many lovely, beautiful bluey shades. So pretty. Yeah, so it's 100 grams, 425 meters, in her perfect sock base. And so now I've got one to keep again for a while and put in my stash. And maybe I'll use it eventually, one day. One day. Right, I'm just waffling now, so I will stop. Yes, and I will see you next time, hopefully in a couple of weeks if all goes to plan. And yeah, look after yourselves till then, and find yourself some lovely crafty time to relax and enjoy in if you possibly can. I know I certainly will, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.